It's 2024, and if you want to get your shit together in your business, then you need to mind the gap. Right now, you can grab an early bird bonus when you enroll in my digital bookkeeping course, Mind the Gap. Visit my link tree in the show notes to enroll, and you'll be invited to book a one-on-one virtual call with me. We're going to strategize and set you on the path for financial success in your business. This call is free for new students of Mind the Gap, and it's currently a $500 value. The course will be available starting in May 2024, but don't wait to grab your free bonus and get into our online community. Everyone who enrolls in Mind the Gap right now will receive an exclusive invitation to join our virtual community. I'm going live in there twice a month to teach you valuable financial content, answer your business questions, we're co-working together, and you'll be able to network with other entrepreneurs who are doing this work too. All of my clients are there already, and we're so excited to meet you. Visit the show notes to get enrolled in Mind the Gap today. You're cold, I'm cold. It's a cold open.
Yes.
So welcome to Money Through Ease. I have a guest with me today. It's Lisa McH, who is a digital organizer, which heavily overlaps with the work that I do. And I think it's amazing that she wanted to come on and share some tips with y'all about how to clean up that clusterfuck of an inbox. So tell us who you are, what you do, what your business is.
All right. Well, my name is Lisa McH, and I call myself a digital organizer for lack of a better term. I was actually a high school Spanish teacher for 10 years,
Mhm.
and I was super organized as a kid. I'm now finding out that was probably an ADHD coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yay. But when I went into teaching, I thought I was going to have this down, and this is way back in like 2011 that I
Mhm.
started teaching. Y'all, I was not prepared. My files were a nightmare. Everything was disorganized when it came to the digital world. And my second year of teaching was awful. I had to recreate everything from scratch, basically. I worked way harder than I needed to. And I realized,
Mm.
oh my gosh, something has to change. I have to figure
Mm.
out a system and how to stay organized and how to manage all of this. So I spent like the next 5-ish years really fine tuning a system that worked for me.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the shit show that was 2020. And for the first time, a lot of teachers were thrown into like online learning.
Mm.
And I had been teaching at a one-to-one school where every student brings their own device. We did a ton of stuff online. I had dialed in that organization system. And so I really spent 2020 and 2021 helping teachers get organized and get a
Mm.
handle on their Google Drives and their file names and their learning management systems like Google Classroom and stuff like that. Um, and from there, it just grew. And I started working with online business owners. And I've worked now with a few people actually locally in person, but I spend my days helping people organize their inboxes, declutter them, set up a strategy and a system that works for them, and then maintain it.
Mm.
That's the big thing. I don't just
Yeah.
roll in, organize your files, and say, like, peace out, good luck. Because if I do that, A, 99% of the time, the way I would organize files,
Yeah.
not the way my client would do it.
Mm.
Um, and B, if I did that and they have no habits set up, no systems,
Mhm.
they don't know how to maintain it, they're just gonna be it's gonna be a dumpster fire again in, like, no
Yeah.
time at all, and that's not what I'm about. So yeah, I spend my days helping people organize mostly Gmail, Google Drive, Dropbox, their computer files, Canva, project management systems,
Mm.
like, pretty much all of the things,
Yeah.
decluttering, organizing, and then maintaining.
It's funny that you mentioned Canva because
Oh,
I'm an organized person, even digitally. And then when you said Canva, I was like, oh no, that's a shithole over there. Like
Canva
my Canva's a mess.
Canva's horrible, like, and if you're listening or watching this and you're like, "Oh my god, me too." Everybody hates Canva. I have not met a single person, and I've run across a few people that this is actually their specialty. All they
Yeah.
do is, like, help people organize Canva, but
Mm.
yeah, the way Canva is, it's one of those things, like, why are you the way you are?
Yeah.
Because the way it's designed, it is a nightmare, especially probably if you're, like, below the age of 30, I would guess. You didn't get taught growing up, like, go to file, click save
Yeah.
as. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I grew up. You had to go to file, click save as, go to file, click save.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Canva is built. And so I'm just like, oh, I feel like it's especially difficult. for like younger people. If you're in a design, that's kind
Mhm.
of what you have to do. And it's not intuitive at all.
Yeah, I did a webinar the other day and I was like prepping my slides in Canva the night before. And I guess like the cache just got too full or something. And it was like, oops, we got to reload now. I'm almost done with the presentation. And it had just skipped over like 10 slides that I had just done. But I
No.
do like that they have like a version history. So I did go back
Oh,
and
good. It was
find,
in the version history at least.
well,
Part
almost.
of
Like
it.
most of the things that it had deleted were still in
Oh,
one of the versions, so I was able to restore that, but I was like, I almost like cracked a tooth. I was like grinding my jaw as soon as it just like refreshed on me and I had to
yeah.
get up and like walk away from my computer. I was like,
Like, you gotta be
"Oh
shitting me
my
right
God."
now.
Yeah, I almost had a freak out. It was like 9 p.m. the night before this presentation. It was taking me so much longer than I thought, and I was like,
Always.
"Bro, come on, man, throw me a bone here, like, Jesus Christ." So, I like Canva, like, I like the
Oh, yeah,
design
I am
elements of
design
it, but
challenged. So Canva's great from a design
yeah,
aspect.
and I love
From
their
an
little AI
organization
thing.
aspect, not so
No,
no.
no, no, it's a hot mess in there. I try to label my f or name my files, like, something that'll help me in the
To be
future, but other than
searchable.
that, I don't have any, like,
Yes.
folders set up, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
I don't have the time, nor do I have the desire to do this, and
Yep,
it's just how it's
that
gonna
is
be.
most people I work with. I don't have the time, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I think, one of the things I was gonna ask you is, like, describe a day in your job or your business, and you've kind of done that, and I think, like, me being an accountant, you being an organizer, especially a digital organizer, most people would probably think, like, "Wow, that is the last thing I wanna be doing is those 2 things," and yet here you 2 are spending all day, every day, like, doing exactly.
Doing the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and again, it probably comes a little bit from that, like, ADHD and, like,
Mhm.
once I start something, I sorta have to finish it. I
Good
have a
for
long-term
you. I'm not that way at all.
I have a client and I'm working on her email inbox. And yesterday, I think she had like 9,800 unreads in her inbox. And down now to like 6,000 unread in her inbox
I know people that have
today.
the hundreds of thousands
Yeah. And so I'm
unread,
like
and I'm like,
chipping away at it. But
"The hell?"
it's one of those things too. Like we got to have a talk about some habits and things like that. But
Me? I'm
yeah,
selecting all and archiving everything.
yes, that too. I mean, I'm also the kind of person like I will just go and purge. I
Mhm,
consider myself a minimalist. So I will let go of things and all day, and not
mhm.
everyone's like that.
Yeah, I'm with my email inbox for work. I can't have anything in that main inbox folder. It has to live in a different folder. So if something's sitting in there, I'm like itching. I'm like, get it out of there. It's gotta be somewhere else. I can't look at it. The visual clutter thing is big for me. And I think that's one thing I wanted to bring up was like our daily lives, like our visual clutter in our physical spaces can be really bothersome to the point where we end up doing something about it. But in the digital realm, like, you're not looking at it until you're looking at it. So most of the time, you're not thinking about it until you have to find something and you're like, "Why is this such a fucking mess? Like, I can't
Mhm.
get a hold of any of my files." Do you help folks? So tell us a little bit about, like, what are the habits or routines that we need to get into to kinda keep the organized on our
Yeah.
stuff?
So it's funny you mentioned visual clutter because there's a ton of psychology research and studies on physical visual clutter. And there's more coming out actually about digital clutter and digital hoarding, like actual hoarding tendencies, but in the
Mm,
digital realm where I think the guy in the study, took like 300 pictures a day and then would upload them all and save them all and like could not get rid of any of them.
yeah,
And really what it boils down to is your brain doesn't care if you're looking at a messy desk with papers and stuff or a messy like computer desktop that has like
mm,
files and stuff
yeah,
all over just helter skelter. Your brain still is trying to like make sense of that and it's still
mhm,
taking in all of that visual data and it's still overwhelming in the same ways. Um and it's funny, I always say a lot of the people I work with end up crying either at the beginning because they're so overwhelmed
yeah,
or at the end because they're so relieved. I will never forget, I had a client and it was her inbox, and she said, like, the little red number that says you have
yeah,
53,000 unread emails, she's like, "It doesn't bother me, I don't care about it, but I should probably do something, blah, blah, blah." And we got done, and she goes, "Lisa, I I didn't realize how much it was weighing down on me, how much
Mm.
it really was bothering me until it was gone. She was, "I cannot tell you
Yeah.
how much more relaxed I am. I'm not stressed that I'm gonna miss something. I'm not overwhelmed feeling like I'm always behind and like
Mhm.
there's just this weight has been lifted."
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the digital clutter, it is a real thing. Like it really
Mhm.
does stress you out. And if you're looking for a place to start, I always I always start, I think, kind of in an unconventional way. A lot of people want to dive in and start like kind of deleting stuff or like going through and sorting and moving. But before you do any of that, you actually need to build a structure first.
Mhm.
So let's say it's like your Google Drive, and you are an online business owner. Let's just say you're a course creator or something,
Mhm.
and all your stuff is just sitting in the My Drive section.
Yeah.
That's like if you took all of the clothes from your closet and your drawers and dumped them in a heap
Yeah.
in the middle of your bedroom floor. It's the same kind of thing.
Mhm.
So if you were gonna go through that whole heap of clothes, you wouldn't take off like a pair of socks and be like, where should I put my socks? Maybe I'll try here.
Yeah.
No, you'd probably kind of decide where you want stuff. And then as you're going through that pile, you know exactly where to put things.
Mhm.
It's the same way with your digital world. So if it's, your Google Drive or Dropbox or OneDrive or hard drive, whatever, you want to create your file folder system first so that you can start going through those files. Let's say it's My Drive. You're just going to start at the top and work your way down. You know exactly where to
Mm.
put them. It really reduces your cognitive load, like how hard your brain's having to work. And it reduces your decision fatigue as well, because
Yeah.
you're not like, oh, what do I do with this? No, you're like, oh, this goes here, that goes there. You know.
Yeah.
So, and it's again, like nobody wants to take the time to do this. And I will always say, they're just files, but they're also not just files.
Mhm.
There's always something more important to do than getting digitally organized, whether that's something for your business or your life, spending time with family and friends, taking care of
Mm.
your health and well being. Those are all more important than your files. I am never going to tell you your Google Drive is more important than anything else in your life.
Mhm.
And if you are an online business owner or you just work in the digital realm a lot, those files are probably interconnected to kind of everything you do. And
Mhm.
so it's probably slowing you down at every single step. Same thing with
Yeah.
your email. So while it's not really a priority, it is because it affects everything else.
Mhm.
And once you take care of that sort of like center spoke of pain points, everything else becomes easier
Yeah.
and the benefits are great. So, if you can create a structure first, and then you have to have a way to make these habits work. That might be if you're like me, I have to find one that doesn't have something on it. I really like brightly colored post-its, like
Uh-huh.
in my work area.
Yeah.
Um, that maybe say things like, hey, empty your downloads folder at the end of every
Mhm.
work session. Or, hey, take 15 minutes to process your emails from today to, file, delete, unsubscribe, respond, archive, whatever.
Mhm.
So that way, everything new that is coming into your digital world, you're taking care of it. It's not contributing to that mountain of mess. And now you can slowly chip away at that really full inbox or all of those
Yeah.
files you need to go through. So if you can create a system, implement the system with all the new incoming things, and
Mm.
then you will have like you don't have to take a ton of time. I will literally say, "Hey, get a kitchen timer." Have a kitchen timer on my desk. Set it for 10 minutes and spend 10 minutes a day. And you'll be amazed at what you can get through when you focus on one task.
Yeah.
And you also want to focus on one task. So if it's your inbox, say, you know what, for 10 minutes, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to look at stuff I want to unsubscribe from. I'm going to
Mhm.
unsubscribe and delete all the emails from that sender. That is
Yeah.
all you're doing for 10 minutes. And when you see that important email from Reagan that you really want to read, you can be like, nope, I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe click a star on it. I am just
Yeah.
unsubscribing. So when you focus on that one task for 10 minutes, oops, sorry, that's my timer to get my child from school, even though it's a snow day and she's not at school. Um, when you focus on that one task for 10 minutes and you're doing just one thing, you will be amazed at how much you get done versus I'm going to work for 10 minutes and you're doing a lot of task switching. You're going from one thing
Mhm.
to a different thing to a different thing. There's a term, it's something like the switch cost effect about just
Mm.
how much time and mental energy you lose in between switching from one task to another. And
Yeah.
again, it really adds up. So that's the other thing. Small work times. So
Mhm.
it's sustainable. You're not going to want to bash your head against the wall or your
Yeah.
computer against the wall, and pick one task to work on during that time.
Mhm. Yeah, those are great tips. Oh, I know what I was gonna ask. So, do you have a suggestion for, like, the decisions to make about creating that structure of files or, like, folders or something?
Yeah. So a lot of people get hung up on, okay, well, great. I need a folder system, but what do I create? Right? Like,
Yeah.
what folders? So the first decision you have to make is, I call them shallow and deep. Do you want shallow folders?
Mm.
Meaning there's not a lot of subfolders. Maybe let's just stick with like my drive, Google Drive. Let's say you go into Google Drive and there's one folder, maybe it says like recipes, I don't know. And then you go into that and maybe you just have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and
Mhm.
you click on dinner and there's all your dinner recipes right there. That would be a shallow folder system because it's
Mhm.
only really 2 folders deep. Now, if
Yeah.
you're me, you like really deep folders. So I might have
Chicken, rice.
recipes, dinner.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna subdivide it out by like vegan, vegetarian, beef,
Mhm.
pork, chicken. Like
Yeah.
I am gonna have it all subdivided. And then because I'm me, I'm also somehow in a file name, probably gonna have some sort of like a tag in the file name that tells me
Yeah.
like how complicated or how long it takes.
Mhm.
My teaching files, when I was a teacher, you would go and click on my drive. I'd click on my units, Spanish one, school and a star, and then I would get a star as a Spanish verb. And then I would get to like my resources for that. That is 4 folders deep.
Mhm.
Um, Most people like really shallow folders. They want one or two. So
Yeah.
decide which one you are. There's not One's not right and one's not wrong. You have to go with what's natural and instinctual to you. Do not say, "Oh, Lisa's a digital organizer and she said I should have lots of subfolders and have things like 6 layers deep. So that's the what I better do." No, because if that doesn't work for you, you'll never find it.
Mhm.
So figure out shallow or deep and then take a few minutes, look at your files or look at your emails and see what is in there. Actually, just kind of scroll through and really look at them and see, okay, what kind of things do I have here?
Mhm.
And then imagine that was actually a stack of papers in your hands and you had to start sorting them.
Mhm.
What piles would you start putting them into in front of you on a table?
Yeah.
Those are the folders you should create. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but so much of it depends on like your situation. Are you a teacher, a business owner? Do you take care of, a family? Are you an accountant? Like all whatever your stuff is, that is really going to be a huge determining factor on what your folder should be. One folder I think everybody needs, mine, I call it an archive folder. It is a folder for everything you are keeping just in case you need it someday,
Mhm.
or because you're too afraid to delete it, or because it's an entire, 9 month, like full school year of Spanish 2 curriculum, but you don't teach Spanish 2 anymore. So you don't
Yeah.
need this in the way, but I'm also not going to delete an entire
Yeah.
like curriculum I spent years refining, but I don't want it in the way. So I'm going to put it into my archive folder or
Mhm.
old stuff or shit I'm too afraid to delete
Yeah.
or might need this to cover my ass. Like
Yeah.
you name your files or your folders, whatever you want to name them. But having that archive folder is a really nice place to get those things out of your main work area. So now they're not cluttering up and hiding what you really want to find. But if you need them, you know where to go find them. Like I live in Nebraska. We get all 4 seasons. It is 8 degrees today. That's our high.
Mhm.
We also
Mhm.
get up to 108.
Mhm.
So in the summer, I don't need my heavy winter sweaters. I put them up on a shelf
Yeah.
so that they're not hiding like my summer clothes. But if I needed a sweater because I was going to be traveling or something, I would know exactly where to get it. So it's
Mhm.
out of the way, but still findable and accessible. Same thing with your digital files.
Yeah.
So an archive folder is great. I really like if you work online at all, or you do any sort of continuing education or professional development, I really like a learn folder for
Mm.
everything you download online, or courses you're a part of, or conferences and summits you go to have one place to put all of that stuff. Because again, it's out of the way, but you also know where to find it when
Yeah.
you need it.
Mhm.
And along with a habit for that is then I will routinely go into my learn folder and I'll be like, oh, I really don't need this ebook about, you know, what SEO is. I
Yeah.
know what search engine optimization is. I've outgrown that ebook. I don't need it anymore. Let me
Mhm.
delete it. Or, oh, hey, remember when I thought I was going to learn how to crochet and like I bought that course about crochet and that was 7 years ago and I've like
Uh-huh.
made an ugly ass rug and I've never done it again, I
Yeah.
think I can let that go,
Yeah.
you know? So it also makes like pruning your files a little bit easier because you can
Mm.
kind of just go into the learn folder and be like, what have I outgrown?
Yeah.
And get rid of it. So I like archive and I like learn folders for everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like we kind of have the same philosophy about I'm not really concerned about the depth of a folder. Like I'm fine with having subfolders on subfolders. If it's limitless for the
Yeah.
program to do, I'm gonna do it. But I am obsessed with file names because I cannot be
Oh my God,
bothered to
yes.
be opening every single PDF to figure out what the fuck's in there.
This is my
And
love language.
yeah, I have a system that I use for my business and it's the same one that I use for all my clients' businesses because part of what I do for them is receipt management and document organization as far as their finances go or whatever the fuck they want to put in there. That's like there's unlimited storage. They can do that if they want. But people will upload like statements to me and the file name is just like a string of numbers and I'm like
Yeah.
no clue.
Yeah,
To
like whatever you
me,
downloaded from something and it gives it
yeah,
that just whatever computer random file name.
jumble.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
23 random characters long.
Yeah, and some of my clients have picked up on my naming schemes and they're
Love it.
doing it themselves. But then, like, I have a client that will do the date. It'll start with the date because I like them to be listed in chronological order for
Yeah.
receipts. And so they'll do that, but then they'll be like, Walmart supplies for da 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 when we did da 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 da. And it's like the file name is a whole
The file
description.
name is
And I'm
120
like,
characters. The
I'm
file
like,
name is like a tweet. Or I guess it's
literally.
not a tweet anymore, but whatever.
No, it's still Twitter in my heart. And it's not
Same
in
on
my
brand.
heart. It's in my butt. Um, and it just cracks me up that like the whole file name is like date and vendor, which is all I really need, and then an entire description of the business purpose of the
Because you know they're
expense.
never going to see that whole file name again. No
Yeah,
program is going to show you that whole thing, or you're not going
yeah,
to read it.
yeah.
Like, that's not the way to go, folks.
Well, it
Not the
cracks me up. I leave it the way it is because it's
Yeah,
the date is correct on there, but otherwise I
that's
leave
all you really
it.
need.
Yeah, and I say date and vendor because when I'm like reconciling the bank account, like that's what I
Yeah.
need to go looking for is the vendor name usually and about when the date is. But like
Yeah.
I have the system that I have because like you said, it's in my head a certain way and it's just reflected that way in the folders. And I have it that way for all my clients and I don't really allow them to like mess around with it. I give them one folder that they're allowed to put things in and then I move it where it needs to go.
Yes. Yeah.
But the way that I've set up the folders and named things, like they can find what they need to if they need
Mhm.
to. And if they don't, they ask me. But like it has to make sense for our brains. We're the ones using the system.
Yes. 100%. And that's why I will tell people when, especially with file names, I will say first and foremost, your file names have to work for you
Hmm.
because you're the one that's dealing with them the most.
Hmm.
And once you're confident in that, then you can think about, okay, who else is going to see these file names? Like I taught at a one-to-one school. All of my students, they knew like my file naming system. They knew if they saw SVC. It stood for Saber versus Conocer. That was the unit they were studying. And then it was going to be Tarea, homework 1, Tarea 2, Tarea 3. And those 1, 2, 3, like they meant something, like they knew. And that's important too. If you get to the point where you have a system that works for you, you also want to have a system that makes sense to others. Because like you said, when people send you like a file and it's just a random string of numbers, it's like, what the fuck is this?
And then I
Or
open
a
it up and it's a bunch
coworker.
of documents scanned into one single file that I have to then separate. And I'm like, okay. Which is fine. Like y'all can do that. I'm not saying don't do that, but it's just like, oh
Not
boy,
great.
here's a
Or like
project.
your coworker sends you something that says meeting agenda. What meeting? When did this meeting
When?
happen? What is the meeting for? What department is it for? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
not a good file name, you know?
Yeah.
So you want to also think about other people who are going to see these files. But yeah, first and
Yes.
foremost, you.
Email subject lines, y'all, please be better with your email subject lines, because if I'm searching for it, it's so much easier if it's the subject has like relevant information in it. So,
Yep, 100%.
yeah. So, what kind of like, I mean, you've talked about what inspired you originally to start doing this work specifically for other business owners. What inspires you to keep like creating and doing the work and, growing your business?
I think the thing that, because I mean, if you run an online business or any business, there are days you're just gonna be like, fuck it, I hate this. I'm burning it to the ground and I'm just gonna go get a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Once a month at least,
oh yeah. But
in
like I
accordance
do,
with the lunar cycle.
yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just love it. Um, but God, where is it going with this? Okay. Like I just hosted my monthly have fun and get shit done training. God, it
Mm-hmm.
was Monday actually. It was just a couple days ago. And I got an email from somebody who was able to attend live. And this person emailed me and was like, "Oh my God, I was so inspired. Like the guidance helped so much. Here's everything I've already done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already feel so much better, so much like way less stress. So like I had this many files, now I only have this many, and I know I'm gonna finish the others. And like, oh my God, this is just so amazing." And so when I get like messages like that, or
Mm.
I work with people one on one and they're like, "Oh my God, I can find my shit now." Like, oh my God, I don't feel those emails weighing down me. I no longer feel like I'm a constant failure
Mm.
because I can't find stuff or I forgot to respond to an email. Like
Yeah.
that is what does it for me. Like making people's lives easier. But also there's a real this like sounds like so dramatic, but there is a real like mental health and emotional
Yeah.
well-being component to
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Um and also I think there's a lot of people that just, for whatever reason, were told that they're not organized. I'm not an organized person. Well, nobody came out of the womb like knowing how to do this.
Yeah.
It's a
It's a skill.
skill
Yeah.
anybody can learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so really helping people realize like, oh my God, I can, you know, keep track of my business finances. Oh my God, I can like keep track of my emails and respond to stuff in a timely manner. And somebody asks me for a file and I can find it and send it right off. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like really competent. I feel really good about myself. And being able to help people, feel that
Mm-hmm.
is great. And then there's just like my ADHD coping mechanism of I must have control and order. That is really
Yeah.
satisfying too from like a dopamine rush standpoint.
Yeah. Like we were cavemen not that long ago, and you know, the things that bothered us were the things that like we knew depended, like our survival was dependent on. And when you think about it, files on a pixels on a computer screen, the file names and shit don't really have much to do with our survival, but we make it mean so much about
We
like
do.
my email inbox is out of control and therefore I'm a failure. Like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, but it's dramatic when you just look at it like
Yeah.
objectively, but it is true that so many of us make it mean so much about like us as a person. Like we're not
Yeah.
whole and worthy if we are
Yeah.
not completely OCD about every whatever. Just
Yeah. And the
relax.
internet. the internet doesn't help really. This goes back to the teacher world and back when before Twitter was as much of a shit show as it became.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're talking back in like 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
But
Before the
in
musky
like,
era.
yeah, in the teacher world, there was a hashtag called highlight reel, REAL. And it would be people just post like, hey, here's what went totally wrong in my classroom today. Hey, here's how I
Yeah.
fucked up. Hey, look at what a nightmare my classroom is and it's a mess. Hey, look at
Mm.
my ugly bulletin board that still says welcome to school and it's March. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of people would post this and was saying like, hey, don't like not everything's Pinterest perfect and we're
Yeah.
not everyone's out there killing it except for you.
Yeah.
Um and so actually today my Instagram stories just before this was about how after like the holidays and after winter holidays and I'd been traveling out of state for quite
Mm.
a while, like my shit was a mess. I was so
Mm.
unorganized, specifically with this one long-term client. We have a lot going on and everything was a mess. And I was feeling so overwhelmed, like I was dropping the ball. Things were falling through the cracks. And
Mm.
I just posted like, hey guys, that was me. And I work as a digital organizer
Yeah.
and my
This
shit
is
was
my
a
job.
mess. You know,
Mm.
like, and that's so you know what I did? I like stopped and I took like half an hour today and I got we use Asana for project management. Like I went through, I cleaned that up, I added tasks, like I got stuff updated, I linked, you know,
Mm.
the Canva folders and the Google Docs. And
Mm.
now I know where everything is. And
Mm.
now I know that tomorrow I can sit down and feel like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know where
Mhm.
stuff is.
Yeah.
And I feel calmer. I feel like I'm not going to let my client down or drop stuff through the cracks. And it's just going to be easier for me from a time and energy standpoint.
Yeah.
So I am very big on like, yeah, I'm a digital organizer. I actually don't use Inbox Zero. It doesn't work for me. Um, but I'm real like normally say like, hey, look at what a mess my downloads folder is. Cause
Mhm.
your downloads folder is a temporary holding space. It's not a
Yeah.
forever home. Stuff isn't meant to live there.
I just delete
But
stuff out of there every day.
yeah,
Boom, gone.
sometimes it happens. I'm like, oh my God, look at this mess. Hey, I'm gonna clean it up. Like, and it's gonna take me 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
So I like to post the, you know, the not so glamorous, the not perfect
Yeah.
stuff
And
because nobody is perfect at anything.
Pinterest is so ridiculous. And like things that look great on Pinterest means that like no human has touched it yet. Like
It's like the
even
pin fail. I think there's like a
yeah.
Pinterest fail
Yeah.
website you can go to where you tried stuff and it didn't work. It
Yeah.
was terrible.
But even like the people that post stuff on there, like their beautiful homes or
No,
whatever, like all their organized
everything's just
shit.
shoved in a corner off to the side.
Yeah. And then like somebody goes into that organization system and touches one thing, or like you're talking about classroom, when children enter, it's like they just bring
They
crazy
bring
with
the
them.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like they just walk in the room and
real
all of a
life
sudden,
happens and
yeah.
the perfection gets ruined. And that's the other thing. A lot of like when I work with people, I'm not like, okay, you know, now you have to spend 4 hours on Saturday doing this. It's all like, no, take 5 minutes a day, like put on a podcast or put on like a Netflix show you don't really have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Um, and spend 5 minutes like doing this. You know, that's all you have to do. And it's really about for me finding those simple, small, sustainable actions. Oh, hey, alliteration. Simple, small, sustainable actions that you can do that feel doable and actually make a difference and pay off because
Hmm.
you should not spend your life cleaning out your inbox or
Yeah.
dealing with files. That's like there's if you haven't ever seen the movie Office Space, it's from the late 90s, early
Hmm.
2000s. It
Hmm.
is amazing. But there is a quote, Peter Gibbons, the main character, says, you know, like human beings were not meant to sit in cubicles staring at screens all day or
Yeah.
something along those lines. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're not meant to be sitting in a cubicle or an office or whatever, staring at computers all day. Like,
Yeah.
don't let it run your life.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like the way the world is today, it just kind of necessitates that we do have a presence on the fake internet and
The
stuff. But
interwebs.
yeah, and that, for us to feel for us to have like well-being online, you do have to have some level of like boundaries and organization. Like even when it comes to your usage of certain technology,
Yeah.
pausing because it's all designed to like hold our attention
Oh,
constantly. So,
1000%. Yeah.
we
And
have
if
to
you
find
look at
ways.
if you look at like the CEOs or the people who created like these apps, and you actually see interviews with them, they will say, "I don't let my children
Mhm.
use my app. I
Yeah.
don't," because we know it's bad for brains.
Mhm.
And I taught for 10 years, from 2011 to 2021, and I'm still very like, a lot of my friends are teachers, so I still hear stories. I'm by no means
Mhm.
like in the classroom, but I hear stories. And just the change in students in that 10 years was terrifying in
Mhm.
terms of attention span and true addiction, and not
Yeah.
even realizing that they were looking at their phone. They didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
um and I've had friends that have said, in their to make a point, they say, "Okay, everyone, hey, put your cell phones on the desk, and just throughout class, every time you get a notification, I want you to go put a tally on the board." Like, they would just get up, go walk on the board, like put it under Snapchat, under TikTok, under tech, whatever.
Mm.
And the one video I saw about this, the teacher was like, in a 50-minute class, I don't remember. I mean, it was
Mhm.
hundreds of notifications
Mhm.
that these kids had gotten as a class in just 50
From
minutes.
their friends who are also in school. Like
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like
everybody
how's
put your
anyone
phones down.
supposed to function like that?
Yeah.
And so when you ask, like, why do I do what I do? And you touched on it. Part of it is about having boundaries about,
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of us, you have to answer emails. You
Yeah.
have to work with digital files. It's just a reality.
Mhm.
And now that we all have like those files and emails attached to us, um, when I can help people manage those in a way that it takes them less time and less energy, or that they're not stressed about it, they can walk away and
Mhm.
they're able to go out into nature, spend time with their family or friends, or,
Yeah.
do things that they enjoy. That's the other reason kind of what I do. I spend a
Mhm.
lot of time looking at a screen to help other people spend less time looking at a
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have to have, um, our tolerance and, like, understand to
Mhm.
what is gonna help support us in our, like, well-being outside of work, and every entrepreneur that I speak to, this is the same struggle for everybody, and it's, like, finding the way to prioritize your personal life, your health, your well-being over the business, even though, like, the business needs you to survive and you need the business to survive, and it's like a symbiotic
Yeah.
relationship almost, but you have to have like that boundary up of I'm you can be somebody that answers your DMs on Instagram at 3 in the morning because someone's messaging you, or you don't have to be that person. There's actually not a necessity there.
Yeah.
It's you get to
Not
decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what kind of tips would you give another entrepreneur, or so you're not working as a teacher anymore. Do you have any other job, or you're just doing business full time?
I am just business full time.
That's
I'm an
awesome.
online business manager for an online course create. She has a membership and a podcast and a lot of stuff. So I do a lot of online management for her. I have a couple long-term clients that, like I said, the one I'm cleaning out her email, and I just do stuff on a monthly retainer for her.
Mhm.
And then I have courses about your inbox, and I have a monthly membership where we do trainings and accountability and co-working and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of different things that I do, but it
Yeah.
all kind of revolves around digital organization and
Mhm.
systems, and keeping all the nuts and bolts like organized and easy to find, so that we can all save time and energy and walk away at the end of the day.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about what that journey was like to go from teaching full time, and like I just want people to be realistic about
Yeah.
their expectations, because a
Yes.
lot of folks are doing a side gig or a side hustle, and they
Mhm.
feel a lot of shame about having to work a full-time job,
Oh
and that it's
gosh.
like
Yeah,
taking
no.
longer for their business to support them completely. Can
Yeah.
you speak to
Oh
that?
god, this is so timely because it's like right after, not right after, but it's we're still in January, and I'm thinking back as we're recording this, and I'm
Yesterday was
thinking
January 1st. It's not, but it feels
it's
like it
not,
was.
it's not. But it's like, yeah, it's January.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking back, just like, oh God, I need to run my numbers, and like
Mhm.
figure out December and get all that. Because at the point, God, I have. technically been in the online space since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And could my business support my family? No, it couldn't.
Yeah.
Um, and not on my own. I'm married and my spouse's income, supports
Mm-hmm.
us when we
Mm-hmm.
have other stuff going on as well that brings in money.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and again, it's that highlight reel thing again. I
Mm-hmm.
think you see all these people online, you think they're all killing it. And then,
Yeah.
like, I had a business coach once, and I mean, she's phenomenal. She's great. And she launched this thing. If you just looked at Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff, you would have thought she did amazing. She's like, "Lisa, I sold 2. I sold
Yeah.
2 of them, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
digital product." And she's like, "Yeah, and it sucked." Um, so I was a teacher, and there's an online marketplace called Teachers Pay Teachers, where you
Mm-hmm.
can sell your teaching resources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I knew, that at some point I was going to leave teaching, not because I didn't like teaching, I didn't like the kids. I actually loved teaching in kids. I
Mm-hmm.
hated the American education system and some
Yeah.
certain things about it.
Yeah.
So I always knew I was gonna be leaving. And at the time, the only exit strategy I knew was Teachers Pay Teachers, or TPT. And so that's the world I started in. And then I found out, holy shit, there's this whole online economy of
Mm-hmm.
OBMs and VAs and courses and
Mm-hmm.
memberships and coaches and consultants and
Yeah.
all the fucking things. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And for me, that opened up my eyes to the possibility. I never set out to be a digital organizer or a
Mm-hmm.
consultant or an OBM or a DOO or any of those acronyms. Um, and so my online journey started as making digital products. And then it went to, well, shit, let me make some courses because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a teacher. I know how to transfer knowledge
Yeah.
and teach. Like that is what I
I can make
do.
a curriculum about
Yeah,
anything.
I literally have my master's degree in curriculum and instruction.
Yeah.
And, so I made courses and I did some trainings, and, like, that was fine. I actually still really love doing courses, but with what I do, it's so individualized that I
Mm-hmm.
realize I really kinda need to work with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
'Cause it's different if you're a teacher, and it's different if you teach Spanish or math, and even if you teach Spanish, are your classes a quarter long, a semester, all year? Do you use a textbook? Do you use comprehensible input? Do you use, all these things? It all is gonna affect how you manage stuff and what your things are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really then realized, like, working one-on-one with people is really what I love to do. And I
Yeah.
love doing long term and being able to, like, delve into somebody's, business or life or as a teacher and get to know them and really be able to support them and say, well, hey, like, you need to do this. And I can confidently say that now because I know you and I know your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I will tell you right now, nobody wants to pay a digital organizer because I
Yeah.
was talking with someone the other day, and I said, "Yeah, we could do like a strategy session, which is like 90 minutes, and you'll get an action like playing with video tutorials and all this stuff. We'll start
Mm-hmm.
building it. We're gonna do all the things." And again, the cost is 297. And this person, like, I'm going to be working with them, but they made a comment about, "Oh my god, if I told anyone I was gonna pay $300 to get my files organized, like, that would be so embarrassing." Or they'd be like, "What's your problem?" Or, "Really? You had to pay money to, like, organize your Google Drive?"
Yeah.
And it's what I do is not a priority for most people. They don't wanna spend the time, the money, or the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, what I do tends to affect every area of their
Mm-hmm.
business,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so for me, it's taken a while to be like, "Oh, yeah, my skill set and what I do actually has value and
Mm-hmm.
actually helps people." But then I also remind myself, people pay a nutritionist to tell them what to eat. You
Yeah.
can't fucking figure out what to eat every day. You have to pay someone to tell you what to eat.
You don't know what you
Or
like?
like, yeah, like you pay like a personal trainer. Why don't you just go to the gym and lift some weights? Like, or
Mm-hmm.
why don't you just exercise?
Just,
Well,
just, just,
just
just,
do it.
just.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't know how to,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that, like, for me, it'd be like, "Oh, you can't do that." I'm like, I don't know how to. I need
Yeah.
somebody to teach me the skills. And
Even the nutritionist, like
yeah,
grocery shopping and budgeting are both skills. You can't just
exactly.
walk into a grocery store.
Yeah.
Planning meals, cooking,
Planning meals and
obviously is a
cooking and
fucking,
figuring
yeah.
out the time, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think no matter, here's the thing, if you are starting a business, whether it's online or brick and mortar, there are going to be a shit ton of people that think what you do is dumb and
Yeah.
unneeded and that
Sure.
you're trying to take people's money. Like, oh, you can't figure what, like Reagan,
Spoiler alert, I do have
everyone
to
can figure
eat.
out their finances. Like everyone can
Yeah.
do math.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
you
most
know,
people hate math, and
yeah,
that is why they
exactly.
come to me.
That's the thing. Yeah, and I also,
Yeah.
I do a lot of done with you work, but in
Mm.
really certain circumstances, I will do done for you work.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, do you want to keep fighting this problem
Yeah.
for months or years and having it piss you off? Or do you want to pay me for my time, knowledge, expertise, and skills, and I will take care of this for you in a week?
Yeah.
And you can then use all that time and energy to make money, read books, do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
And I think no matter, like I said, no matter what your business is, people are going to think it's a dumb idea. And people are going to be like, holy shit, where were you 6 months ago? Like, I needed you, or oh my God, we need to talk. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I have to do. You have what I need.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just hard. Like, I mean, we basically just said that you want to burn it down.
Yeah.
I will say if you are starting a business, get yourself some biz besties. Get yourself
Mhm.
some people that are in the same field, um, and get it and understand. I started back in 2019 in the online space, and at the time, I reached out in a Facebook group and I said, "Hey, it was specifically for digital product makers for Teachers Pay Teachers." And I said, "Hey,
Mhm.
are there any other high school Spanish teachers in here that would like want to create a little mastermind and support each other?"
Yeah.
And 3 women were like, "Yeah, me." And I was like, "Great." And that was back in 2019. Um, 2 of those women I talk to every single day,
Mhm.
multiple times a day, and it's 2024. And the other
Yeah.
one I talked to for years, and she had a kind of a life change and was like, "Hey, I have to step away from this." And that's the only reason I still talk to her from time to time.
Yeah.
But had it not been for those 3 women, I would have quit years ago. Like, I
Mhm.
would have walked away,
Yeah.
um, because running a business is hard. It is a roller coaster.
Mhm.
And people, especially if you're in an online business, people don't get what you do. Like, my parents have no idea what I do since I left teaching. They just don't get it. Um, or, to have somebody that knows the world, I can say, "Hey, my conversion rate on this product is this and the price is this. It's got this many, views and it's got this is what it is and pages. Do you think I should increase the price or do you think I should do this or that?" Like, to talk about these very niche things that I can't talk to my next door neighbor about. She doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To have people that get you and can help you not only strategically, but you can also be like, "Hey, I wanna fucking burn it to the ground, and
Yeah.
here's why, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, so, like, help me out here." And
Yeah.
I'm old because if you're watching the video, I'm making, like, the old phone symbol with my hand.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm old. But yeah, get yourself some biz besties because the journey has been hard. And if you set out to do one thing and you end up doing something completely different, that's okay. I started selling Spanish resources to teachers, and now I work as a digital organizer.
Yeah.
Had you told me in 2019, I would have been like, huh? A what? I'm gonna do huh?
You're like,
So
"Never in a million years."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I always appreciate when my guests come on and kind of, like, share their real experience with business, and it's just because of all of the kind of shit that we see that is
I
so
didn't
not
replace
real.
my teaching salary in 30 days. I didn't make 6
Ooh.
figures in a month working 10 hours a week. Anyone who
Yeah.
says I can do that, like, I'm sure there are people who have done that. For 99.99% of the population, that's not gonna happen. Like,
Yeah, like, I wish, I mean, sounds great, but
yeah,
sounds like a
that's
lot of work that I would have to do up front anyways, so if I'm gonna do a lot of work
yeah,
anyways, like,
yep.
I'm just gonna do what I need to be doing in
Okay,
my
speaking of,
business.
I'm gonna do a lot of work. So there's always the joke about, "Oh, maybe I'll sell pictures of my feet online,
Yeah.
for money." And I was in the burn it down phase one day, and I'm like, "I'm gonna do the research. I'm gonna figure out, like,
Mhm.
how much do you actually make if you sell weird pictures of your feet online?" And I did that. I went through the rabbit hole. I did the research.
Mhm.
And you know what you have to do if that's how you wanna make money? You have to know about search engine optimization. You
Yeah.
have to build an audience. You have to market.
Yep.
All the same shit I'm
Mhm.
already doing.
And that is
So,
already a heavily saturated market, feet
yes.
pick. So
Yes.
find
So
something
all of that
else.
is to say, like, I don't think there is no easy road. There
Right.
is no, I saw a reel the other day and it was like, make $3,000 working in the evenings as a transcriptionist. And I'm like, yeah, no. Because
I
I
don't
once
even want to
also looked that
transcribe
up.
my own shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, yeah, no, it's not how that works.
Mm.
So there's no easy way. There's no
Yeah,
easy road.
I get these people all the time that are like closers. They'll teach you how to be a closer. And I'm
Yeah, yeah,
like, I need to close my own sales in my business. Why the fuck would I do that for somebody else who I don't even know? Like, what?
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like the thing I've seen a lot recently, and I'm just like, God. But all the the folks that I actually do follow, and a digital creator, sex worker, whatever
Mhm.
that has courses on how to become
How to do it.
a digital sex worker creator.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, like she's even doing the thing, like that
It's the same thing that
the
everyone's
teaching
doing to teach
part
you how
that
to do anything else. Like,
yeah. But I'm
yeah,
like, good for her. But also she's having to like that's what her account is to market her products to you, whether
our
you're
courses.
interested in feet
Yeah.
pics or interested in selling your own feet pics.
Yep.
It's like one or the other.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find that really hilarious. But yeah, it's cool to know that like you started off with one thing and it was really just because you saw like kind of a need. And
Mhm.
then you started selling digital products and then it's turned into this. And I think that's beautiful. And it is more like mostly about how we can support ourselves personally, our families, and do the kind of work that like brings us joy. Like you
Yeah.
have an ADHD hole in your heart to fill, organizing other
I
people's
genuinely
inboxes.
enjoy organizing your shit show of an inbox and your files. Like
Yeah.
that is
So
enjoyable for me. That's a nice Tuesday afternoon.
exactly. So like perfect. Like what more could you ask for,
Yeah.
honestly? Will you tell us you have a free guide that I will include the link to that in the show notes, but tell us a little bit about how we could work with you, what kind of resources you offer.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
you've already kind of talked about
yeah, but you can find me online and you can find all the things at my website. Let me try this again. You can find my website, lisamch.com. And that'll link you out to kind of everything. From there, you can see courses, there's free resources. I think the one you're talking about is 3 steps to an inbox that doesn't look like shit,
Yeah.
which will give you 3 simple steps to an inbox that's going to look a little less shitty.
Hmm.
And then I also have a full course about how to get your Gmail inbox like tamed and under control.
Yeah.
I spend way too much time on Instagram. I'm
Hmm.
Lisa J MCH there, and that's where you can find me hanging out most days.
Awesome. I gotta make sure. I thought I followed you, but maybe they're just not showing me any of your posts
It
because the
just the
algorithm
algorithm just doesn't like us being
they
friends.
hate us. But anyways, thank you so much for being on. I really loved where this conversation went and that you really gave us some awesome tips. So everybody out there, go take 10 minutes and focus on one task in your inbox and get that shit together, y'all. Come on. If I look at somebody's home screen one more time that has 100,000 unread emails, I'm wagging my finger at y'all.
And if you have 100,000 unread emails, go to the end because they're probably at least 5 years old, and I'm pretty sure you don't need any emails from 5 years ago. Just
Anything
mass delete.
earlier, yeah,
Yeah.
anything earlier than
Oh, yeah.
2023, you can probably just archive that
You
shit.
could probably, yeah, at least archive it. At
Yeah.
least mark it
I
red and archive it.
I like the archive function because it still
Yes.
exists
It's still
somewhere.
there. Out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my God, we
nice.
get a whole nother episode about the environmental impact of emails and servers and
Oh
the
my
energy it takes.
gosh.
Like all
Yeah.
the emails in your inbox. It's not paper and trees, but it still takes power to power the servers that store your emails. So
Probably even a lot more energy to
yeah,
like cool the
it's an
rooms and stuff.
obscene amount of energy. There, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Oh,
depressing. But we'll save that depressing conversation for another day.
yeah. What a note to leave it on. Thanks so much,
Right.
Lisa, for
I'm
being
so fun.
on. I I had so much fun with you today. Thanks so much. Y'all go check out Lisa at her website, Instagram, get your guide to get your inbox less shitty, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Money Through Ease. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating and review. Your feedback really does mean a lot to me. And if you're ready to take the first step towards organized finances, be sure to download my free receipt organization guide, Chaos to Calm. Visit the link in the show notes to grab your free copy now. Remember, your financial journey starts with small steps. I'm here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, this is Reagan Bashara from Money Through Ease. Stay empowered.